simple and pretty. So I have all of my floss ready to go, threaded through the needle, tied a knot at the end, and what I'm going to do is start here. I'm going to call this 1 and go in at A to follow along with the diagram that you have. 1, go in at A, 2, go in at A, we're just going to go all the way around the hoop. I just find that the stitches are neater when they're going the same direction or centrally going into one hole. If you tried coming back up through the center that I'm calling A, the stitches would get fairly messy. So I like to try to start places that don't already have floss. Come up through a fresh piece of fabric. So we're going to try to do that again for the next part. And there's a little diagram in your kit to show you this as well. Okay, so we're going to start at one of the points. Okay, and go in here. That first one I think has the knot in it, so it doesn't want to go through. So I'm going to just turn the needle a little bit of an angle to get past that knot. Okay. And then going forward, you're going to just kind of work counterclockwise. It was off screen. Okay. Alright, so we're going to keep doing that. Almost done. There's the last one. Okay, just like that. Alright, we are going to do the, I guess I'm going to call them spokes. We're going to start up at the top. We'll call this 1, so when you look at your diagram you'll be able to follow along. And we're going to come in at 2. We're going to come up at 3, and we are going to go over to 4, but we're going to leave it loose. Just like that. Then we're going to come back up at 2, just under it, and we're going to scoop that floss to bring it down like that. So, okay. And we're going to come in here at, I think this would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your diagram. Okay, and then we're going to come over here to 6. And we're going to go across to 7. and we're going to come back up 6. We're going to grab that. We're going to come down at 8. Come up at 9. Go across to 10. Come back up at 8. Scoop that. Okay, and come down here at, should be 11. Okay, and you are going to repeat all the way around. You could tie off your floss and start again, but you're going to use the same amount of floss. If you're worried about crisscrossing and light showing through and seeing the lines, you can end it and start again, but I'm not that worried about it. When I'm done, I might put a piece of like a circle of felt in the back to make it less transparent. Okay, so I'm going to come back up here to show you this one more time. The floss is getting a little bit short, so it could be harder to do, but we'll see how far we can go with this piece. Just so you can see it repeated, come across. Okay, and then we're going to come back up here and scoop that floss like that. Come in. And then we're going to go over. I think this is going to be maybe the last stitch we can do. Okay, so we're going to grab that. And I think we're going to finish off here. Okay, so then you'll just get a new piece of floss and start over where you left off. And after we finish all of these spokes, we will pick back up to do the French knots for accent and the red in the center. Okay, we're back for the knots, the French knots, and I just want you to notice the difference. On the tree, we did 3 wraps in there on the bigger side, gives them a little festive feel for the Christmas tree, but on the snowflake, I went with a smaller one, and to do that, we're going to use the same amount of floss, but we're going to wrap it one time around the needle, okay, and it just makes it a little smaller, because we just want that tiny pop of color. And now, what I'm going to show you too is when we did, that's the finished one. When we did this one here, even when I jumped from bottom to top, it didn't crisscross too much in the open space. You know, we talked about being able to see that through if light's shining through. And even if it did crisscross a little bit, the silver just isn't that dark. But the red is, I mean, you can't see it too much here, but, you know, if there were a lot of light in the background, you might see that red. Because this was the first one I did, and I zigzagged all over the place because, well, sometimes I just get so excited I want to get them done and see what it's going to look like. But for yours, I would make a suggestion of tying off each knot so that you don't have all of that red crisscrossing all across the back of your hoop. Okay, so what we're going to do, and it, you know, will take a little bit more time, but it's going to look nicer in the end. Okay, so you're going to come out here on the end. You don't have to be right in at the silver. You're going to come up, do your knot, 1, and just do 1, and then go right back in next to it. See, it makes that nice little petite knot. Okay. Always take your time with these. Make sure that you've got everything positioned just the way you want it. There's no need to rush. This should be an enjoyable process. So what you can do, there's 2 options, is you can tie this off right here, or you could weave your way down and weave your way back up to do a knot, the French knot. So what I'm going to do instead is just tie it off. So you just make that little knot there, and if you put the needle, you can see at the base there, it's going to bring the knot right down to the bottom for you, okay? And then you're not going to have to worry about it. So that's right there, okay? A little pop there. And so now to start your next one, I'm going to just do my knot. Okay, we'll just do a couple together and then we'll skip around to do some other part of it. Okay, so again, we're going to come out to the outside, come up once. I always want to stay away from this because I end up catching the thread, the floss all the time, and it's frustrating. So you want to just wrap it one time and go back in next to it, not the same hole. If you go in the same hole, it's going to come out on you. So right there, just let it pull all the way through. Okay, and then we're going to tie it off again, get it started, and then just see how I'm going to maneuver it so that it goes down to the bottom. Okay, and then just cut that off. All right, now let's skip around, do something else, tie a new knot. And we're gonna just put our little red spokes here. I didn't mark these on the template. I think you can gauge it. So you're coming, this is the center part, we're in between those two. And you're just gonna come right in here. Go in the middle. And it's, you've got a lot going in and out of there, so you're gonna have to push it a little bit, okay? Fabric's getting loose. You're going to be able to fix that when you're done. If you hold it here in the center with your fingers, it will move less. Be careful not to poke the needle under your fingernail that's on the opposite side of the fabric, because that can be painful. Okay, so there we go. We've got that nice red accent here. And the same for these little French knots on the outside. We're just going to do the one wrap and the knot. And these ones I did crisscross also, but they're in with a lot of other floss, so you're probably not going to notice it as much. So it's up to you if you want to tie off every time. Where did I finish? If you want to tie off every time you do one. So I just go right in the outside of it. It doesn't have to be touching the silver. It's up to you. Okay, and then I'm just going to come across and do another one. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that you can finish this up on your own. Okay, and then we will start the last hoop, which is Believe, and some pretty little star embellishments.